Okay, let's do some prep for meatloaf. Of course, I have a large mixing bowl. I have a pound of ground beef, also known as minced meat or hamburger meat. I have a half pound of sausage. Now, I am not sponsored. Nobody pays me to advertise their products. I just happen to like the Farmer John Classic. It has spices, but it is not peppery hot. There's no skin, so I don't have to remove the skin or cut it into small pieces. I just take a fork and kind of crumble it and mix it with the hamburger meat, which I also crumble with a spoon. Get them thoroughly mixed together. And I like to put in tomato sauce and small pieces of tomato. So I have this spaghetti sauce that I made a while back with a can of tomato sauce and a can of diced tomatoes, the petite, which means they're little. I'll use about half of this probably in a meatloaf. I've had it frozen for a while. It's still thawing out, so I won't be making the meatloaf till I've either nuked it or waited long enough. And of course you need a filler. Some people use breadcrumbs. Mom always used Rice Krispies. If she didn't have those, she'd use one of the Chex cereals, preferably Rice Chex. Some people cook some rice. You don't put raw rice into a meatloaf because it will not absorb the liquid while the meatloaf is baking. You need to cook it first. Boil it, steam it, put it in a rice cooker. Be careful of leftover rice, especially if it came with fast food. You can keep cooked rice in your refrigerator for 1 day, at least that's what they tell me, and you do not want to reheat it more than once, and you do not want to keep it for more than 1 day. So I just start with uncooked rice and cook it if that's what I'm using. But today I'm using oatmeal. Like, once again, I'm not sponsored, but it's the 5-minute kind, the old-fashioned. Instant oatmeal will not work. It'll just be mush. And the 1-minute oatmeal is okay, but the old-fashioned 5-minute kind is better. You do not cook the oatmeal before adding it. It's only rice that you need to cook. Now I need to make sure that I go long enough so my phone will not insist that this is a short. It loves to upload my videos as shorts. Well, later today, I'll actually mix up the thawed meat and the sauce and some oatmeal. And I've found that if you have it, a little bell pepper cut into tiny, teeny pieces really elevates the flavor. Now, I used a red bell pepper because that's what I had. Now, if I were just adding canned tomatoes and tomato sauce and not this spaghetti sauce, I would be frying up some onions and celery and carrots, all cut really small, in some oil, and add a little salt to help them give up their moisture. But I already did that for the tomato sauce. I think it's called a sofrito. It might be called a mirepoix. I'm not good at French. Anyway, that's already in the spaghetti sauce I made. Now, of course, the meatloaf will need some salt and pepper, but you don't want to taste it because you have raw meat in there. So you'll have to try to figure out how much salt would you put in a pound of beef. That's the main consideration. But since my sauce is already made and not just sitting in a can, I can taste the sauce for salt content and maybe black pepper before I add it to the meat. But before you add the sauce, you want to put in 2 raw eggs into the beef mixture, the beef and sausage. Now, if you don't want pork, you can use turkey sausage or beef sausage. But if your sausage has a skin, you either remove the skin and smash it with the fork and mix it into the hamburger meat, or you cut it into really tiny pieces. You want the texture, but you want to make sure that every bite has a little of every ingredient. So mix in those 2 eggs really well, and then slowly mix in the sauce. You've got your meat, your eggs, your filler. Could be oatmeal, could be breadcrumbs, could be rice, could be a dry cereal like Rice Chex or Rice Krispies. And just add some of the oatmeal and then some of the sauce. Get them mixed in, add some more oatmeal and some more sauce, and mix it in. And when you think you have enough to fill your baking pan, where'd I put them? You want to grease your baking pan with some kind of oil. I don't like to use butter because this is going to cook a long time and it would burn. So I just use olive oil or bacon grease, whatever I have. I have these heavy-duty baking pans, the kind you can throw out when you're done eating. So they're already, if you don't eat it all at once, they're already almost ready for the fridge. You need either aluminum foil, aluminium if you're across the pond, or a plastic wrap like saran wrap, or what do they call it? I'm blanking on what Chef Vincenzo calls it, but it's really a plastic wrap. You want a good seal so you don't either flavor other things in your fridge or pick up a refrigerator smell. Now, I'm going to do all of that and cook this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's, I think it's 160 Celsius, but don't quote me on that. Look it up for yourself. And the time it takes to cook depends on how much you're making, how deep it is in the pan. For example, if you're using a larger pan and it's only 2 inches deep, it doesn't need to cook as long as a batch in this pan that's 4 inches deep. You have to just keep checking it, and yeah, you can put in a wooden skewer. Toothpick isn't big enough. I suppose a metal skewer would work, but I've never tried that. I always use a wooden one, made for shish kebab on the charcoal grill, and see what sticks to it. Also, if you now you don't want to use your hand, but you take your offset spatula, like mine, which was Granny's, and you push, and if it springs back up, it's probably close to being done, but you want it to get to where it hardly squishes at all. Squishing means it's still wet inside, and that means it's uncooked inside. So this time, I will come back and show you some finished meatloaf, and I might even show me eating it, but my stinking phone will insist on uploading it as a short, because YouTube hates me, and Verizon hates me. Anyway, I shall be back, and remember, make it the way you like it. Add the ingredients you want. Just don't go too crazy. Oh, and I might add a little Worcestershire sauce, 'cause I like it. We'll see. Catch you later. Bye.